I'm hoping.
Not gonna happen. If someone shows up and say, "Oh, hey, Mike,"
my microphone on OBS and the desktop audio. There we go. That should have fixed it, Kevin.
Apparently, the live feed for the meeting is still named for August.
I will change that right this moment. I thought I did that, but I copy pasted wrong.
Also really happy I'm testing out this charging cord early because I was gonna bring it for road crew stuff. Nah, it got bright light. It's blinding.
Thank you for letting me know, Kevin. Oh, and Kevin, let me turn my stuff up. Is that better? I hope that's better. Move that a little closer. That'll help that too. I don't know if you saw, Kevin, I did get you emailed 2 sets of the board minutes as well as the agenda for whenever you have a chance, and I will get you next month's agenda. Hope my goal is before the end of the day Friday. And like you said, I will at that point take you up on your offer to show me how to get stuff done, because I do not want to take advantage of your kindness in getting that stuff up on the website. So then we got that covered. So after tonight, I'll touch base with you, and we can work out a day, and then we can use getting the next month's agenda up as a demo, I guess.
The agenda on my phone.
Oh, okay.
It errors every time I try to open it.
Yeah, let's get to that meeting agenda so we're not here for 4 hours.
Please.
Yep. Okay. So we are going to start the evening off with recapping off-cycle actions and votes. We did have. Sorry, I'm trying to get into. Not you. Get into one more site. Matt, while I'm doing this, can you go over the votes we had at the special meeting, please?
The special meeting that I wasn't at.
Fair point. Fair point. Okay, so I'll do that while I'm looking here. So we held a special session last week regarding two topics. One was the approval or denial of the Quad Cities anime rental request. We the members that were present were myself, Allie, and Buttons. We did choose after discussion to approve it, acknowledging the fact that there has been some issues with some stuff in the past, such as the last year where we ended up not getting some of our items back for a bit of time past what it was scheduled for. So we were just going to be reminding them that if that does continue going forward, we, as we have with other events, may no longer be able to rent to them, because we don't want to have to keep losing equipment and such. The other item that we went over was the contract negotiations with GPS. Those we came up with some other ideas. We wanted to speak with the two people that we've been speaking with so far were Seth and Kathy, the president and secretary from GPS. I did email them last week to see if they would be available this evening for a short discussion in a closed session, so we can get as a group that a little bit more ironed out, and they said they will be available for that. So that will be after this evening, or after at the end of our scheduled agenda. The last thing was the special election for the president position. The only applied candidate was myself. That election was held from roughly noon on Friday to 11:59 on Saturday, this last weekend, the 9th to the 10th. The results of which we had already shared with the board. Those are Tristan, myself, won with 10 votes. There were three separate write-ins. So that is a total of 13 people voted out of 28 people who were eligible to vote. The write-ins were There was one person who abstained, one for John Itzen, and one for no confidence. I don't know who, as these are, the results are anonymous. But those are the results in the report. Moving on, that is all of the off-cycle board actions and votes that occurred since the last month's meeting. Next, we have the open session, which is up to the next 30 minutes. Anybody in the community can bring up any business or discussions with the board. If there's any private discussions that people want to have, we do ask those be sent to us, and we can have those after the public session. You are correct, actually. Thank you for the reminder on that, Charles. Trying to remember. Matt, can you remind me of that process? We don't do it. Ashley's usually reminded me how we ratify those into the record.
So usually reading them off and put them into the minutes, or we can, yeah, they can basically be, entered in as a matter of record.
So reading it off in the fashion that I did qualifies, yes?
That would put it into the record of this meeting, yes.
Okay. I don't think
the stream is a permanent record of the meeting, and we use that as official minutes currently. That would count as a permanent record of the votes, yes.
Yeah, and these will be transcribed, hopefully to have them up within the next 48 hours.
And it sounds like we're going to be working with Kevin to try and bring back some sort of written minutes. Perfect. So
yeah, I've already transcribed a couple of them.
If we get written minutes up at the next board meeting on the agenda, we simply need to basically accept or approve the minutes from last month's meeting, and then they're a permanent accepted record.
Okay.
That's standard Robert's rules anyway.
Okay.
A written transcription is technically considered written minutes.
Why did that suddenly change?
Like I said, the live transcription feature on this service does count as a written record. So much so that a lot of courts will actually use automatic transcription of the audio as a official court record. So good enough for the courts. It's good enough for the Attorney General. It's good enough for us. Again, it's a live transcription, Charles. Live transcription.
And also at this time, I am still trying to take notes and keep up, although we do have a lot to go over. I do not have the skill set to keep a full record, as I am also running the meeting. So I am taking some written minutes, and I will be filling them in with the remainder.
Don't worry, Charles. You can actually go to the videos, and you can actually click the transcription button, and there's an entire written log there that you can look at. So have at it at your leisure. Feel free to knock yourself out.
Also, Charles, we are in the process of getting them transcribed. In the past couple of months, Dave Vetrek had been working on getting those done, but since he has stepped down, we have not heard anything from him on that. So I've taken over in the last couple of weeks trying to get those transcribed. We've got a couple of months done so far. I am hoping to have all of the back done minutes updated and live viewable on the website within the next week.
I don't think our minutes have to be kept on site at GPS. I don't believe that's in any of our rules, is it?
It's not in our rules, no.
Perfect.
But we do have files that we do keep at GPS. I have not. I do not know exactly what's in there, as I have not looked at it in quite a while. So we are trying to get that resolved. If as far as that goes, we are looking for we are still seeking someone to apply and fill the secretary position. If anybody is interested or willing to help us with that, that would be greatly appreciated, as that would help alleviate some of the other issues we've been having with workloads amongst the board members.
Yeah, Charles, if you look at 317.015 under definitions, it specifically specifies that electronic records are sufficient wherever a written record is too. Please check the statutes before you come at me with that stuff. Like, I'm probably the one who's actually talked to an attorney. I'm gonna know our statutes, sorry.
We'll do it just a couple more minutes, in case anybody else has any other questions about anything.
Again, 317A015 literally specifies the legal satisfaction of electronic records wherever written records are required. Therefore, our cloud records are sufficient under that same statute. I just remember that. I mean, if you've got a bar number that you have, I'd love to see it to specify you as a expert on the law. Otherwise, asked and answered. No, the statute that I've specified says that electronic records are legally sufficient for when written records are required. So a cloud copy, say these meeting minutes, are legally sufficient under the same chapter that you're trying to specify us. I've said this twice now. I'm not seeing any business that's actually business for the board at this point.
All right. So at that point, we will move on. We next is any planned discussions from any visiting parties and ATC partners. The only thing we had on the schedule for that this evening is there's going to be a closed session after the public session this evening, where we will be once again meeting with members of GPS to discuss the renewal of our contract and partnership with GPS going forward. Next would be the equipment rental requests. There is no new rental requests that we have received since the last meeting. The two rental requests that we have received, or that we are in the process of handling. The first one would be Furry Migration, whose event was just this last weekend. I did get the effectively everything is accounted for. There's a couple of things that we had to haul over in someone else's vehicle because we did not have physical space left in the truck to haul everything. So we got everything there. I have not had a chance to check everything yet, but I am hoping to get down in the next. We do have a time period designated for that. I believe it's up to 30 days. So, no, I think it's. I'd have to go look at the rental request. I know we're in the process of editing that. But I will be getting down to verify the functionality of everything. They did send me some pretty cool videos from the event, and I like some of the ways they do things. It's pretty cool. So I'm happy to rent from them as they do treat our equipment rather well. Next would be the rental request from Qca/Animefusion. We did, as was mentioned earlier, we had a special session. The board spoke about it. We looked over the issues that have been brought up in the past, and we did agree to their rental request. I do have to, pending that we do have everything. They did ask, for example, they did ask for 18 projector screens. I'm not sure if we have 17 or 18. I think we have 18. As I did as I was checking everything from Fusion or Furry Migration, I did not remember to count as we were in the middle of that, and I was in the middle of a meeting as well. But I think we should have everything else that they requested. I just need to reach out to their logistics team, which I believe is Chris, and work out with him specific times for pickup and drop off, as well as who will be facilitating that, as that they happen on the same weekend as Anime Nebraska, and I will be staff at Anime Nebraska, so I'm going to talk to them and see about what time Thursday morning, because I usually leave for Anime Nebraska sometime between 6 and 8 Thursday morning, if I am able to, just as early as possible. But it's a con. Setup usually starts early, so if I can meet them at the locker and do the pickup and stuff with them, get that all out smooth and going, and then I would just have to talk to somebody, see who I can get to handle the drop off, as I will most likely not be back until Monday. So I want to make sure that goes off without a hitch, and that we get that handled, because I'd rather, if it's one of those things, like if we need to, we can we'll work out times and stuff, because that's not specifically stated in the request, but we'll get that ironed out. Does anybody have any questions about those two rental requests at the moment?
I doubt.
I'll just throw out for you, Tristan, that I will be obviously in town for that weekend. So if you need to, I can take the keys and handle the pickup and drop off.
If you could handle at the very least the drop
Nebraska.
off.
I can do that. Yeah, you just got to get me the keys for it.
Yep, I will make sure we get you a set of keys for that. Thank you very much for that. Sweet, cool, awesome. We got that handled and organized.
Can't imagine why you'd be in town, Allie.
Right.
Next on the list is coordinator updates. First on the list would be Troy with Anime Detour.
Let's see. We have moving into the budget cycle period, so we are closing out the previous budget cycle. We'll be moving into the new budget cycle, so working with the department heads on sorting that out, and coming before the board next month to finalize that part of the process, and getting those budgets back out to the departments next month. We've finalized the contract with the Hyatt for 2027. Trying to think, obviously we've opened registration since the last board meeting. So things are starting to come together there. We'll start making more guest announcements, start looking to open the hotel reservation blocks. Just start putting all of that together in sort of the standard chronological order. Be heading out to Anime Nebraska with part of the staff exchange, as well as the an ambassador group. That's it. That both between now and the next board meeting. So that's all I can think of, unless there's any questions. That's essentially it.
Give me just a second, trying to catch up here.
Filled some vacancies, still have a few open, so that's about the only other thing that I can think of. We have a staff meeting this Sunday, so that's kind of the last of the little bits I can think of.
Did was the turnout for Dealer's Room and Artist Alley good?
I did not get numbers from Hotura on what she received as far as applications.
A lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I can take a look if you would like, because I have access.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
I know in the past we usually tend to get over 200 applicants for
Yeah.
art for Artist Alley alone.
Artist Alley, I believe the last count was 300.
Holy.
That sounds, yeah.
I have gone through 150 of them.
Good luck.
Oh my
It's
god.
hopefully it's a lot of really cool art, and it's really hard decisions to make.
Oh god, it's over 300. Okay. 341 for artists. For vendor, let me get that open. It is 72.
Okay. And yeah, it varies from, I mean, there's a certain number of booth spaces that you can count individual, but then, that can vary on terms of availability based on when we ask those vendors if they want one of the typical 10 by 10 spaces or up to 3 10 by 10, or up to 3 of the 10 by 10 spaces. So whatever number of spaces we have, it's not only one per. So and if Tour needs to, that we could look for more, or I haven't spoken to her about that since the closing. So I don't think that's an untenable number, but she's my expert, so I leave it to her to tell me where she's at with that and be confident in her abilities. So, but it sounds like a very, I wouldn't say average number, but kind of right in that familiar neighborhood for us. It sounds a little heightened from my experience with Artist Alley. Yeah, I was being generous. It sounds up there. So yeah. Sounds like a good return coming out of the the COVID darkness, a little higher than last year's numbers. So good, and we've done it earlier than I think in previous years, but also earlier than last year. So I think that's also a good. We have Detour nationally is at the same time as some large conventions out on the East Coast. Um, so if you think of kind of between us on the East Coast and kind of a central location, I hate to use the word competing, but vendors do end up kind of picking and choosing which conventions. So we do try to make sure that we're open earlier, because if your stuff isn't open, then you're not on their board for selection. We do try to make ourselves available to be open so that we are an option for them when they're sort of planning their routing. So programming will be open at its kind of standard time. Like I said, we're starting to all those calendar points. Rooms be looking for like October-ish, which is regular. So dealers linked up with Hotura being the head of both. She wanted to have both of those openings be simultaneous. So yeah, kind of the same calendar. Next would be the hotel rooms. Programming would be in follow up, and then kind of end that at the typical end of January, and then everything kind of starting to fall in line. Your tech deadline, New Year's, that sort of all the same. So if there's not any I guess, Charles, I don't know what. I guess it would depend on what you mean by issues. We are a large convention. We're dealing with a lot of moving parts. The board is really hands off. They are essentially, I don't want to put words in their mouth. They're an oversight committee, for lack of better verbiage. They don't micromanage. They approve the financing, among other things. So I guess in that respect, it's very easy to be managed by them. I report to them. I guess I don't see or deal with a lot of issues being managed by the board. I think it's a very collaborative process. We face issues together and head on. A number of them also hold detour positions, leadership positions. So there's a collective vested interest in the for detour itself to succeed, but the organization as a whole. Um, so yeah, I guess whatever issues there are, we discuss them and plan and investigate them and try to work through them together. I think there's been um, more than a modicum of success at doing that, regardless of who's leading the board or leading detour. We're going to be at our 20th year in 2023, so we kind of take it as it comes and face it together. So I hope that was in the answering your question in the spirit I think it was intended. So that's all I had.
Okay. um, Brittany is not here yet. I actually believe I did see an email from her. Did I?
She posted a message saying she'd be late.
Okay. Okay. So then she is on her way. We will round back to her when she gets here. So next on the list would be charities. um, at this point, we've not gotten any charitable requests. And I know based off of the things we were talking in the past, we haven't. We've kind of started amongst some of the just random chats we've had here and there. Um, um, kind of spitballed some ideas. Like last week at the interview I had on that we had live streamed. I would like, I know I would like to see some of our old partnerships as far as the charitable giving brought back. Something like the St. Paul Public Library and various other similar organizations that we partner with. I would like to see those brought back, but that's not really a discussion we can, I guess, finalize until after we've looked to see what we might have for the for budgets. Um, um, uh, Charles, when you say 45K a year, are you talking about the? I know the highest amount we've given out was about 40 during our charitable disbursements. I know right now that is absolutely a number that I do not believe we can continue to give with us still trying to recover from the impact of COVID. Um, maybe someday I'd absolutely like to see us have the ability to get back to that state. That would to be able to donate that amount of money to various groups and organizations in the community that could put that to good use and have a positive impact. I would absolutely love to be able to have to be able to say that I work as part of an organization that can have that kind of a positive impact. Um, but it's going to be a slow start. If again, as I said earlier about the secretary position, we do still have the charities, the communities, and the SOS positions open uh, for applicants for candidates. Those are the ones that I'm currently kind of overseeing as well as I am able. Um, and if anybody can come in and help us, that would be a lot of stress off of us, and that would also help us have somebody a little bit that's able to dedicate possibly more time to those. I've never been part of the charitable giving team. I've heard the things they've done, so me trying to fill in for them, I may stumble. Um, Yes, that is definitely one thing that had been brought up in the past. Was Charles was a little bit more thorough vetting of some of the charities out there, and that is definitely one thing that I do intend to continue to bring up, is that anybody we're vetting or anybody that we're donating to is thoroughly vetted, because I know part of what we I believe is in, I'd have to look it up, but I vaguely remember seeing somewhere that our charitable giving. I'd have to go look it up. I don't wanna say something and misquote it, uh, regardless of what my intentions may be. But yes, definitely we gotta make sure we're vetting who we're giving it to. Um, I know in the past we have been trying to aim more towards educational organizations and such like that that are in line with our mission statement. I know some of my personal favorites were the St. Paul Public Library, the St. Paul Nagasaki Sister Cities, and I don't remember the name of the school because my short-term memory is not always the best. Um, but um, but the we had donated an amount of money to a school so that they were able to purchase a handful of manga for some of their classrooms. That's all listed on our website in the documents section. That's animetwincities.com. Right down in the documents, uh, we have our focus, our 501 status, our incorporation, articles of incorporation, various policies, as well as bylaws and amendments, as well as a number of our prior year tax returns.
I mean, it's literally like basically Article 1 purpose in our bylaws clearly outlays the mission statement anyway. So anyone with a understanding of our bylaws should know that. It's under purpose. Purpose and mission are basically the same thing.
And we do have an an abbreviated version of it as right there on our splash page about on the front page of our website. It is a significantly truncated version, but that is a general summation of it.
But yes, Heather, thank you. The focus document is the long form version.
Yes, that is not inaccurate. People should be able to find it, and that's anytime anybody's asked, we've directed them to our documents. I know some people have said in the past that the website's not the most the most easy to navigate. Unfortunately, the people that did previously manage that are no longer with the organization, and none of us have the ability to do that. In the past, previous boards have looked at um, hiring someone to do it. Although the people that they had looked at, as far as I was told, the costs were beyond what we were able to budget for at the time. I know we're still looking at, we're still considering some opportunities to try to get that updated. I know with part of the problem has been some of that lack of staffing. If you have that expertise and you are willing to help us with that, again, please, it would be unbelievably appreciated if you were able to do that. As far as I'm aware, the focus was the original filing documents. As far as from some of the
I mean,
original filings.
To my knowledge, most corporations don't really change their focus over the course of their existence. I mean, that's literally the reason they exist. So I really hope our focus hasn't drifted too far in these past 20 years anyway.
Thank you for pointing that out, Heather. Actually, that was as the coordinators were prior to my time on the board. I know you've been around a lot longer than I have, so that is not something that I would have been aware of.
Anyway, on with the agenda.
Actually, you know what? They do have a point that would not actually getting the focus updated, because some of that does state that we are looking at example. The board is in the process of acquiring a membership in the JASM and to establish relationships in the Bloomington, Minneapolis, and the St. Paul City organizations. So it may not be a bad idea to sit down and go over that and get some of that updated. That is not something that I have gone over in quite a while, so that's something. Is there anybody that would be willing to sit down and go over that so we can look at ways we can get that updated um, to more accurately reflect our current state? I can't see who raised their hand at the moment. Who's that?
It's me.
Order. All of this is non-germane to the current agenda topic at hand and calling for the orders of the day.
Well, first I would like to see what Troy wanted to say before.
It was just me. If I wasn't, I think I had my hand raised before Matt said that, so I do agree with Matt. But I was just saying that I would be willing to help with that. So sorry to kind of.
Nope, that's fine.
I would as well.
Okay.
Sorry to have been in the middle of that. Matt's right, but I would be willing to help with that.
Okay, so I will get you guys an email about that, and then we will get something organized and get something roughed up for next month. Yep, that's yep, Ryan, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Just wanted to see if there was anybody else, because I didn't want to assume that I would be the one to do it. So next would be communities. Actually, let's go. Hold on, I just accidentally completely zoomed out of my document. Actually, let's actually let's go with SOS because I have that note here right away. This last Saturday, we attempted to kickstart off something that actually Heather had been doing back when she was running SOS, which was a bit of a monthly game night. That was from 7 to 10 p.m. In the classroom at GPS. And everybody was welcome. Unfortunately, we did not have anyone. We did not have anyone in attendance, so that a little disheartening. But it's not exactly going to stop us. So I'm looking at seeing about hopefully getting one of those scheduled each month. Hopefully bring people back out. Because while I was not able to attend many of the things that Heather did with SOS, I did see the impact they have, and I really did see and still have had people asking about bringing back things like Akihabara. We actually have right now a couple of people in our community who are local vendors at various conventions who asked if we were going to be continuing Akihabara. At this point, though, as I was unsure, this was a couple of months ago, I was unsure how to get that started. I did let them know that. Unfortunately, I'm not sure. I would like to have a discussion with them on thoughts and plans on how to do it. So they are actually looking at hosting something akin to that of their own throughout this year. But I would like to be able to get back some of those events to bring in people's interest into the organization and things outside of just one convention a year or meetings. You'll give people that kind of space to come and just talk and meet and see see where we can get it to develop from there. Sorry, give me just a second. That's wicked acid reflux right now. Public becomes. Um, actually, yes, Heather, thank you. I haven't looked at the Google Drive in a while, so thank you for the reminder that those are there. I would definitely like to sit down and talk with you at some point, because I want to get those back up, and previous understanding of the situation would definitely be helpful than trying to hit the ground running with no information.
Hello.
Hey, Brittany. We will get to you in just a minute. We're gonna make you the last thing on that list.
Thank goodness.
Right, exactly, Heather. No need to reinvent the wheel. So let's then get to communities. At this moment, we don't have any outstanding or any partners that have reached out to do any other things, such as we did recently with the Cherry Tree Festival and the Oban Festival, which were still absolutely fantastic turnouts for those. We got a lot of interest. We got a lot of people that have followed us and were asking about us, so that was really fun. I gotta look and see what kind of things we've done in the past to see what things we may look at doing in the future. And then going on to finance. Pulling up Kim's email, or Kim's information that she has sent us. So currently the bank accounts sit at, our main account is at $193,169.97. The education fund is sitting at $2,508.82, and the community fund is at $13,782.75. Right now, she said that with the exception of an invoice that she is waiting on from you, Troy, it's the A Secure Card charge, the Adobe charge, and the e-ballot charge. She expects that all the expenses have been accounted for that are relating to this fiscal year. Just as a reminder, that does end at the end of this month. There are currently 2 reimbursement checks outstanding from March. That we need to reach out to those folks and have them cashed within the next 2 weeks, preferably. If they have lost them, then we need to get them in touch with Kim to potentially get them reissued. Directors and officers insurance is due on October 1st. We got the bill from State Farm on that recently. I just picked that up on Sunday, I believe. I have not had a chance to open it and look at it. Whoever raised their hand, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna mention I can get that invoice to her. It was sorry, words. It can be a real invoice. It was just with where we are at with the end of the cycle. It was questioning whether we wanted to, whether there was a concrete need to, whether we should have it on this billing business cycle, or if she absolutely wanted to move it to the next business cycle. But I can get it onto this one, but I wanted to make sure that it, even though the cycle ends on the 30th of this month, I didn't know if we had a harder earlier date, like let's say the 15th or something like that. So I can get that to her. But yeah, it wasn't a overly pressing need, but I'll get that to her in the next few days.
Okay, that'd be very appreciated. There's also a handful of checks that we received. I know we received a couple of oh, I forget the word for them. It's when your business donates to a charity on your behalf from like work you've done for them and stuff. I know we got one from Kevin. Thank you very much, Kevin. Thank you very much to your work. And there's one other one. I would have to go look at it. I have it in a pile. I glanced at them on the way home. So we need to get all of that over to Kim, so she can get that taken care of. um, she gave us, and then to give us a starting point for kind of the budget discussion, she did give us some of the key points that she usually looks at to get everything drafted for the expenses and stuff. There's some information she's not aware of. Some examples would be, how we are currently trying to look into legal representation since Charlie passed last year. And as well as, since she has chosen not to continue as treasurer, we are still looking at some options. One of those potentially being contracting a professional from outside of the organization. So some stuff like that would be examples, since those are not financial numbers that we have yet. So those are some stuff that we're gonna have to factor in once we get those. And that's pretty much all she had there. So close that. So Charles, we have actually been trying to get those. We have reached out to the community, as well as other groups and other organizations. One example of doing that would be our most recent coordinator edition, Brittany, who is in charge of our communities. Our communications division.
I was gonna say.
Which
I was like, wait.
Which is mostly, but not only, social media. I know we've done that. We are still trying. We're still asking. Several of the board members, we have not assumed the positions because we can't, but we have been working together to try to fulfill what duties we are able to make sure that those branches continue as best we're able.
I have a question.
There we
related to that.
Nope, there you go. Sorry, you were very quiet for a moment.
Sorry. I was wondering, only because I'm like looking for vocational positions and stuff there all the time, but Minnesota nonprofits, like the board or whatever, I don't know. I think you just have to be a certified organization, but in terms of posting like nonprofit positions, that could potentially be a resource for us. I only know about it because I frequent it all the time. If I wasn't actively looking for nonprofit stuff, I wouldn't know about it. But that could be like a way that we start marketing it, I guess. I'm willing to like message some people and ask around and kind of like figure out how you get started as an organization on there.
That'd be very appreciated. I know we've kind of I don't have too much experience with with some of these fields. I don't. My profession is not marketing, so it's one of those I'm trying to learn as we go kind of situations. But yeah, if you've got any of that information, that would be very helpful. If you could look
And
into that
I'll
and get back to
do
us.
more social media pushes too. If we can get like some like cute little graphics like mocked up or whatever of updated like what positions are currently available, and then maybe some separate things that are about like
Okay.
what some of those descriptions are. I feel like that would be helpful. And then I could forward that to like that board and see if they can like make a posting for us or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know some of our previous coordinators, such as Heather, when they stepped down, they did, they or the board at the time did create sort of position descriptions. I gotta go. Oh,
Find some of those.
I
Yeah.
would actually at this point I would have to probably go find them on social media because I was gonna say go grab the files, but those files are currently on a laptop that was run over by a tractor, so
Yeah.
I
Ooh.
can't. So I can't
In
exactly
the
get
interest
those.
of time here, I'd like, now that Brittany showed up, I'd like to ask for that coordinator update so we can get back on task.
Yep. So, unless anybody else has any questions or concerns about that, next we will bring things over to Brittany with communications. What do we got for updates?
Yeah, so sorry. In terms of like some of the big pushes that are coming up, I want to push through some of our social media about like registration going live on Detour and kind of pushing that event stuff. I haven't gotten the opportunity to coordinate with their social media person yet because my ideation is I just want to like echo for our for like ATC what's happening over there. I don't want us to like do anything new, obviously. But in terms of like the intensity of fulfilling some roles, I think obviously the engagement for everybody here is going to be a lot easier and more fulfilling if we like kind of get some of these like specialist roles like filled in. I think it's going to be easier for everyone, and I think I'll have more to like contribute once we fulfill like the communities piece and the SOS piece as well.
Okay.
Like once we kind of get someone allocated to those, there'll be like more engagement for this. So I feel like there's not a whole lot that I can post about or that's going on, but as soon as I have like more content, I guess. I think that would be good. So I'm open to ideas if people like have other places that things could be posted or other things that need to be posted. Like obviously feel free, anyone, just shoot me a message and I'll whip something up.
Okay.
Profit.
Okay. Definitely. All right. That does bring us to the end of our coordinator updates. This is typically the option where we have, or the section where we have an option for a 15-minute break.
Without exception, we'll move to skip that by unanimous consent.
That was my next question. Yep, I vote to skip it too, or I'll second that.
Yep.
Unanimous consent, basically just no one has to say no and it's good.
Fair enough. All right. So the topics we currently have. Since Troy got us the paperwork for the equipment sales stuff, I'm actually going to do the treasurer and the legal representation since that is a bit shorter, so we have that time to commit to those. At this time, I'm still playing a little bit of phone tag with Propel for nonprofits. I've gotten a couple of callbacks from some people, but they've called me examples like when I'm in when I'm in the middle of driving down the interstate and don't have a chance to talk to them. I have also started researching some local individuals, and I've also last week or so reached out to the Minnesota Alliance for Nonprofits, is I believe their title. I filled out some of their forms, sent them some requests to see if they might be able to guide us because legal and finance are not anywhere near my expertise. I'm hoping they can get back to me, not necessarily to give us the answer. If they can, that'd be great, but to at least point us in the right direction to people that are able to help us with that. So hopefully I will hear back from them soon, and then we can get that ball rolling so that we don't end up taking advantage of Kim longer than she is willing to help us with these things. And then uh, thank you, Brittany, for that. And that brings us up to Troy with the equipment sales.
Troy, I think you're muted.
Sorry, otherwise you would have heard all the pings from work-related emails again. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Essentially, for the update from the last time we went over is I just changed some of the wording, and let's see here. Then I added some of the lines regarding about the determination of pricing, and then how the board would propose for sale, removal, disposal, and then that last line just in case, not necessarily at the board level, but just oftentimes there's some confusion, so that it should be noted that as the Anime Twin Cities funds are dispensed from a singular entity, and that these items may have been purchased in any number of different years, business cycles, any monies received from said sales would be returned to the Anime Twin Cities Incorporated account and not to individual departments equipment had been assigned to or an Anime Detour operating budget. So if we sell something from, if Anime Twin Cities determines to sell something from the gaming department, it does not return to the gaming department's budget. It does not return to Anime Detour operating budget. It returns back to the Anime Twin Cities account because it could have been purchased 5 years ago, last year, etc. So as it was purchased with Anime Twin Cities funds, it returns to same. And since there has been some attention being paid recently, or we've been asked to be increasingly focused on Minnesota state statutes. I did look up things, anything governing nonprofits is typically under 317A, like Matt had mentioned, and things in there, 317A 661 transfer of assets looks like we are covered there, as it basically is transfer of assets in the regular course of business. Just means, and if you want to look that up, it means that we would be covered by doing that. We would not need to notify in writing, all of our members or anything like that in order to be able to dispense of those, sort of as we are describing here. That we would make a motion, propose it, have it be seconded, sort of following our normal board procedures, whether to dispose of it, sell it, whatever the board deemed appropriate. So that was basically. I don't know if there was any questions on that. Like I said, it was just those couple of last lines that were added about about the about the selling of things. Everything else we had previously discussed. But yeah, I don't know if there's any new questions on the process itself, or questions about the old or about the previously discussed parts. That's essentially what I'd come up with for this revision, or if the board elects to make that the final draft of that.
I'm still reading that here.
Yeah, no, pretty straightforward. It made sense to me.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually more words than needs to make sense, but I just feel like, for it's I tried to make it essentially future proof, or if it wasn't the folks who are here now discussing it with us, that they could read it and make changes if they needed to in the future, which is probably why it would suggestively be best to have it exist as a policy. If you guys thought it's certainly easier to make adjustments in the future to a policy.
That's my thoughts.
Then,
Yeah.
Yeah, then
Let's
up
see
to
if
five.
we can update this in the future. I'll go ahead and move to adopt the proposal draft as operating policy.
I'll second.
All in favor? All against?
For the record, that looks like a unanimous
Yep.
vote of all present.
Yep. All right, motion passes. That will, I will get touch base with Kevin, and we will get that into the policy sections as needed.
Alrighty.
All right, that does bring us to the end of the public discussions. I am. I just gotta touch base and get. And then we can continue on with our closed session with our discussions with the GPS partners for that contract. Thank you all for coming tonight. Just as a reminder for those that are here, these meetings are counted towards attendance. To be counted as in attendance, you must email ATC secretary or ATC_secretary at animetwincities.org. Please let us know your first and last name, as well as your username in the chat here, and we will get you, and then comment that you are here or make any sort of comment, and we will get you, and that will get you recorded as in attendance. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this evening, and we will speak with you soon.